Okay, so yesterday we spoke about few basic commands again. Okay, we spoke about what is a file system hierarchy, what are the different types of files do we have in Linux operating system. We spoke about top command. So top is basically the basic monitoring command which you can use in Linux, and I think that's it. That is what we talk about. Yeah, and we spoke about file types. What are the different file types? In this, I think we haven't covered the link file. So let's start with the link file. What exactly a link file, and what are the different types of link files you can create? Okay, so link file is basically there are two types of link files, guys. There are symlink and hardlink. Now, when I say symlink, it's very similar to a shortcut what you create in Windows. Now, when I say shortcut, let me give you an example. For example, just think of this file, ARM notes. If you want, you can just go ahead and and create a shortcut on the desktop, wherever you want to create a shortcut. Okay, for example, how do we do it? So, not this folder, let's create a folder shortcut. If you this ARM, there should be a way to create, okay. If you see this option, create shortcut. So what exactly this means? If you want to access this file, if you click on it, and you can access the same folder from your desktop now. Correct? This is what it's a shortcut is all about. Now, if I delete this shortcut, guys, if I delete this shortcut, the actual file is not impacted. The actual file is not impacted. If I go and delete this is still there. There is no impact. This part is called as symlink in Linux. Now, if you create a backup kind of thing, so what do I mean by backup? If I just create a copy of the file on a desktop, now something like this, if I create a backup, a copy of a file on a desktop, okay. Now, even though if I go and delete the actual source, if I go and delete this ARM folder, for example, this folder will still there. It's a backup we have created. So this part is known as hard link. Hard link is nothing but it's a backup which you create in some other location. Symlink is nothing but it's a shortcut which you create for the file. If the source is deleted, the symlink will not be accessible. Hardlink is like a backup. The exact backup is created on some other location. If the source is deleted, your hardlink will still be accessible. So two types of link, symlink and hardlink. Keep this in mind. A definite interview question when you go for an interview. Now, how do we create symlink hardlink in Linux? So I do have a VM created already. Let's go and log into the VM. Okay, so I am logged into the machine. Now, in order to create a symlink, let's create a folder. Name it as anything, whatever you want. Notes, and let's put in some information in it. Or let me show you one more command if you want, without opening the file, if you want to edit something. So you can simply do an echo, guys. And in echo, you can just write whatever message you want, like welcome to my DevSecOps course. Okay. Now, echo, if you do echo, what will happen? It will simply display whatever is written in this bracket. In this, under inverted commas, whatever is written, it will simply go and display that. This is what will happen. Okay, welcome to my DevOps course. Now, if I want, I can make use of this sign. This is called as redirect sign. Now, what it will do, this output will not be displayed. So what will happen? This output will be redirected to this file. So if you go and enter this, nothing will happen. So this, whatever we have written in this echo, it has been redirected. This is a greater than sign. That means a redirect sign. It has been redirected to this file notes. If you want to view, you can do a note. See, welcome to my DevSecOps course. Single, if you have a single greater than sign, it will go and add this to the file wherever you do it. And if you have double, then it will go and append a new line to the same file. Okay, Linux intro, for like the example, I'm just adding something additional, Linux intro. So if I have double, so what exactly it will do, it will go and append this to a new line. If I'm using a double redirect sign, this is we use a lot in shell scripting, this redirect sign. See this. Now if I do a cat again, do you see these two lines? Now if I use a single one, everything will get replaced with, like suppose if I'm adding something with just single, so it will replace existing whatever is written with whatever new you write. So like Docker introduction, something like this if I'm writing. So what will happen with single, it will not go and append a new line. It will replace whatever is there in the file with this whatever you're writing right now. So if you go and check, see everything is gone, only Docker introduction. We had something like this previously, but I just used single redirect sign. That means it will delete previously whatever is there in the file and it will add the new one. So if you want to append, then you need to use two greater than sign, and if you want to replace it with something new, it will go and use one. And when you use redirect sign, guys, you don't need to use, even if the files are not available. So suppose this node files was not available, it will go and create that file for you. For example, this Docker introduction, I want to create something in Docker file, something like this. Okay. So this Docker file is not there. What will happen? It will go and create that also for you. This redirect sign will go also go and create that file for you. So keep this in mind. Now we were talking about symlink and hardlink, correct? Let me create a shortcut for this file somewhere else. Where do I create? Let me create a directory test1 test2. So in order to create this two directory, I need to use -p. Okay. Now I have this. I want to create this shortcut, this Docker file shortcut somewhere inside test2. How do I do it? So the command to create a symlink is ln. ln stands for link. And if you want to create a symlink, then there is a flag which you have to use -s. Okay. Now you need to create a symlink for Docker file, correct? So Docker file, and where exactly you want to create the symlink. So that is somewhere I need to create it in test1, test2, somewhere over here. Okay, enter. Now if you go inside this test1, test2, test1, test2, you will find a Docker file over here also. Now if you see, this is how it looks like. And do you see this L? L stands for link, correct? This is something we have seen it yesterday. So, and you have a symlink created. So if you make any changes to your actual file or to the shortcut file, the same will be reflected over here. Both will be in sync. If I go and delete this file, Docker file, the actual file is not impacted. But if I go and delete the actual file, this file will be impacted because this is just a shortcut which we created. This is what it is showing. The same link is created. Now if I go outside, if you have a look over here, this is your actual file. You, by seeing this file, you'll not even come to know that what exactly this is. Now let's go and edit something like added new line, something like this. And let's have a redirect sign, the double redirect sign, and update the Docker file. Now I should see the other file also get other file, the shortcut which we have created, even that should have the same change, correct? Let's see. Oh, it's not letting. Let's go inside it and see it. Too many levels of symbolic links. Okay, it has been created at multi-level. Let me cancel this and let me have this created in the same directory. Too many levels we are getting. Okay, let's create the same over here itself. ln-s sibling or exist. Let's try and create a sibling for the file. Notes and notes link. It does give a different name altogether. So we got notes. We created a sibling for notes, and I've created a new sibling with a new name, notes link. I'm not giving the same name. There's a conflict happening because of that. So what do we have in notes? Let me see. We have Docker introduction. Same if I just open note links, we'll see the same thing. Correct? If I make any changes anywhere, it will update the file, other file also. So added new line for example, and if I have make changes to the actual file notes, so the other file should also be having the same change. So it's just a shortcut, guys. So in case, see, edit new line. In case if I delete the actual file, the shortcut will be impacted. And if I delete the shortcut, there's no impact on the actual file. If you want to view, let me go and delete the actual file. Now let's see. See, it's in red. That means the actual file is deleted. Now if you try to access this file, you should get error. No such file or directory, because the actual file itself is deleted. So this is what symlink is, just a shortcut. Now let me remove this symlink also. Now let me introduce you to the hard link. For hard link, let's create a file first. Let's do echo. Let's name it as hard link example. And let's name this file as hard link, something like this. Okay, so we have this file created, hard link. It's just a file name hard link, guys. Okay, it's not a link created. Now if I want to create a hard link, it's only ln followed by hard link, the file name. And if you want to use the same file name, even that is okay. If you want to create a new file, you can name it as hard link example, something like this. Whatever name you want to give, it's up to you. Something like this. Now if you see, we have a hard link created. Now in hard link, it is no L and everything will be visible over here, guys. It is simply a backup which gets created in hard link. Now in hard link, if let's see if I make changes to my actual file, will that change reflect in my other file also? Let's go and see this. Let's added new line, something like this, in my actual file, that is hard link. Okay, so if I go and view the other file, let's see if I have that new line. Do you see added new line? Just because I've added this single redirect sign, it got replaced. But that's different story. But if you see, even in hardlink, if I'm making changes to your actual file, the source file, even the backup file is getting updated. Now why exactly this is happening? There's no link over here, correct? But this is a hard link which we have created. Now what exactly happens when you create a hard link? It gets created at the same location on the hard drive where the actual file is created. It is sharing the same block on the hard drive. Hence, whenever you make changes to the actual file also in hard link, the hard link file also gets updated automatically. Now, if I go and delete the actual source file, will it impact the hard link? So the answer is no. The hard link will still be accessible, and you can still access the hard link without any issue. You can still access this file without any issue. Because it's a backup. What did I say at the very beginning? It's a backup which got created. Okay, so two things: symlink, hard link. This is something, and plus we have seen the redirect sign. What is the important? How do we redirect without opening the file? I've edited the file. Correct. Now the second thing was absolute and relative path. This is something we haven't done yet. Now what is absolute and relative path? This was over here. Okay, an absolute path is a complete path from the start of actual file system from slash directory. The relative path is defined as the path related to present working directory. Okay. Now this jargons are very important in Linux to understand what exactly is absolute and what is relative. Now let's understand the relative path. Relative path is basically your current working directory where you are right now. Now, if I want to copy this file, Docker file, for example, there is a command doc cp docker and followed by if you want to give a new file name or where you want to copy. So if I'm following relative, that means I want to copy into my current working directory. So I will name it as something like docker file copy, something like this. Okay, so what did I do? Cp docker file, and this is my file which I want to copy, and the location where I want to create a new file. So this is my current location, pwd, that is called as relative path, where this is called as relative path. You have this copy created. Now let me give an example of absolute path, for example. So let me create multiple folders. Now absolute path is where you want to create a copy, or if I'm just giving an example of copy, guys, you can, whatever you're doing, whether you're doing a move, copy, you're creating a directory and things like that, whatever you're doing, and if you're defining the complete path, that becomes an absolute path. For example, if you want to copy this Docker file itself to a location like something like this, home, Valaxy. Suppose you are somewhere in the root directory. Let's go into root slash something. You are somewhere over here in a root slash directory. Now you want to copy the path, copy the file from home Valaxy Docker. There is a file called Docker, and you want to copy it somewhere into test one, something like this. Okay, so firstly you need to go inside home, cp, Valaxy, and you got some file over here, Docker file, correct? So already you're giving an absolute path. You're defining the complete path where exactly the file is. Okay, so you're defining the home Valaxy. The file is somewhere kept inside this folder. Now you want to copy this from to in test to test3. So you want to copy this Docker file at this location, test3. Now this is the complete path which you are defining from your slash till the end. This is called as absolute path. Okay, this is wherein you're defining the complete path. This is what absolute path is all about. An absolute path is a complete path, starts from an actual file system from slash directory. So you're actually writing the absolute path. This is very much required, this absolute path, whenever you write any sort of shell scripting, or if you're doing any sort of automation. Over there, relative path will not work. You need to define something like this. Okay, and if you do a enter, it does the exact same thing. If you go inside this path, you will get the file over there. How do we go? CD, and I'm defining the absolute path, ls. So you have your Docker file over here created. If you want to create with something new, a new name, you can give a name over here, Docker file, copy. See this, you will have Docker file copy also. So relative and absolute, even though these are small topic, but this becomes very handy when you're trying to automate something. Okay, two things: symlink, hardlink, absolute, relative, path. Okay, guys. Now let me introduce you to the editor. This is something we haven't done yet. Let me introduce you to the VI editor, the editor which we have it in Linux. Because whether you're using Linux or not, you will come across this editor a lot. We'll come across this edit. How do we edit file? How do we make changes to the file? And all this will come across a lot. Okay, so let me go back to my home and let me open one of
Yeah,
the file. Yeah, tell me
yeah, why we
questions.
are using the mkdir-p with before the multiple that folder?
Okay, so let me show you with an example. mkdir, suppose if I'm creating a file folder, let's have a folder something called abc, then cdf. This will not let me create. The reason is there are multiple levels of directories what we are trying to create. Correct? This command. With this p, abc is acting as a parent working directory. So inside this ABC directory, we are creating all the subdirectories. So this P is a flag which we are using, letting Linux know that ABC is the parent, and all the directory within it, it's a sub-level directories. So that is the reason we're using P. Now I'm not getting any error. And if you go and check, you will have ABC plus CDF, both the directories created. Okay,
Thanks.
no problem. Okay, guys, so editor. There are multiple editors which we have in Linux. We got VI, we got Vim, we got Nano. There are multiple. So the commonly used editor, what you will find in all the flavors of Linux. I'm not just talking about Ubuntu. I'm talking about CentOS, Red Hat, and the SUSE, Fedora, whichever Kali Linux, whichever Linux you go. The commonly found editor will be VI. That is the common editor. Like how in Windows we have Notepad. Now this Notepad plus plus, this Notepad. This is commonly available in all Windows machine, correct? Whether you go on Windows Server 7, XP, 10, 11, whichever Windows you're using. Same situation over here. In Linux, there is an editor called VI. Okay. How do we work with VI editor and why it is important to work with VI editor? Let me tell you. If you're working on Linux and if you come across VI and if you don't know what is this editor, it will be a very difficult time to edit something to that file. It will be very difficult to close that file, save your content, delete content. It will be very difficult for you guys. So understanding VI is very important. Not just not just for Linux machine, even if you're using Git, for example. Okay, if you're using Git on Windows and you're using a bash shell to work with Git, there could be a chance that it will automatically open VI editor for you. And if you don't know what that screen is, it will be very difficult to close or save anything in that screen. So hence, VI editor comes handy if you have a if you have a knowledge how do we work with this notes editor in Linux, then that becomes very handy coming forth. So in order to work with VI, if you want to edit an existing file, for example, so we got so many files, Docker file and all. If you want to edit the existing file, you need to have VI Docker, the file name, and open. So if you see this, there is a blinking cursor. So we are still not in edit mode. You have opened the file, that's it. The file is open in a read-only mode. If you want to insert something, you can go and do it. But if you don't do anything, it will still keep on blinking, nothing will happen. If you want to close out of the screen without doing anything, then just watch at the left hand side down corner, all the commands will be. So the bottom line, what you see in this editor, this is where your commands will be placed. This is where everything will be visible, whatever you do. So semicolon, see the bottom line, Q. Q stands for quit. Done. Without making any changes to the file. And then suppose there's no file, guys. You want to create a new file and edit the file. For example, let's have a file name as something called deploy.txt. There's no such files, correct? So what it will do, it will create that file for you. See, you got a blank editor open. So it's a blank notepad which is open. Now you want to edit something. See the bottom again, if you want to edit something. So the first thing is you need to go in insert mode. What you need to do, the first thing is you need to go in insert mode. So you need to hit I on your keyboard. I stands for India. I. Now if you see, we are in insert mode. Now you can write whatever you're on the first line right now. These are blank. So this tilde sign, what you see, these are blank lines. There's nothing inside over here. These are blank lines. Okay, and you're on the first line right now. Where exactly you're on the first line. And if you want to hit anything like learning VI editor in Linux. As soon as I go down, we are on the second line. Let's have something welcome read course, something like this. Done. Okay. So we got two lines written in the file. This is the new file which we are creating, which was not available earlier. And this is something we are creating along with these changes. Now, how do I save this file? Firstly, in order to save the file, you need to go out of this insert mode. How do we come out from the insert mode? So you need to hit escape on your keyboard. Left hand side top corner, there's an escape key on your keyboard. Just hit escape once. See, it is gone. The insert mode is gone. Now, in order to save this file, you need to do a semicolon again. W. W stands for write. W stands for write. So that means you're doing a control S. What you do in Notepad, what you do after writing something, you do a control S, correct? Something like this. Same thing, semicolon W, it's doing the control S for you in Linux editor. Done. It's written. Now, if you see what exactly has happened, it's written. Now it's not been closed. How do you close this window then? Again, the same thing. Semicolon Q. Q stands for Quebec. Quit. Done. If you view the file in the read-only mode, deploy something. See, you have this content written inside it. Okay, now if I go back to the editor again, don't worry about these flags, guys. Whatever flags I'm saying, it's there in my PPT. Okay, it's there right over here. Whatever flags I'm saying, it's there. Don't worry. Okay, now let's go back to deploy.txt. Now you have opened the same file again. Let's go in the insert mode again. Let's add a new line. Add it, new line. So you don't need to do W semicolon W and Q separate. You can do all together. You can run both the commands together. Just do escape semicolon WQ. It will write the change and it will close the file also for you together. Done. See this written, added new line. So insert mode, I write your file contains, escape, come out of insert mode, semicolon WQ will write and quit the file. Quit means it will close the file for you. Let's go and use the editor again. Now if you want to delete something, now suppose you want to delete this line, this complete line, you want to delete the third line which you have created. Okay, so without going in insert mode, you simply come at the very beginning over here. You want to delete the complete line, correct? If you want to delete the complete line, then hit DD. D stands for Denmark and D stands for delete. If you hit DD twice, the line will be deleted. See, DD, the line deleted. Again, if I do DD, even this line is deleted. Okay. Now, if you want to save this, like suppose by mistakenly you have deleted the line. Now you don't want to save this. You don't want to save this. How do you quit without saving it? What did I say? Semicolon Q, correct? No, it is not letting you save because no write since last change. So you have made changes, but you have not written it. So it is not letting you save. How do you save? Again, do a semicolon Q followed by exclamation. Now, exclamation is a forceful save. You're telling forceful quit, not save, sorry. That's a forceful quit. You're telling editor, go and close this file without saving it. So what will happen? Whatever deletion you have done, the deletion will be gone. You will have those content again because you're not saving it. This is something you thought you have done by mistakenly. You don't want to save, but you want to close this file. So see this. If I open the file again, you will find out those changes again. It's not been deleted because you have not saved it. If you want to save it, then you need to do a WQ. Okay. So what all things we did? We did deletion. We did insert. Escape is for terminate insert mode. And if you want to do undo and all, then let me show you that also. Let's go back to the deploy one. Like suppose you deleted this line. Now you want to do undo. See the U stands for undo. Just hit U. Whatever you did, that will be, your changes will be back. Without saving, guys. If you have already deleted, then you're trying to and saved the file, then if you come back and try to do undo, that will not work. Keep that in mind. That will not work.
Yeah, can you please show again? Means when we are opening the file, we are in the insert mode and we are suddenly deleting the file, and how we can go means if we press U, then it will write a word U or directly
No,
undo.
no, it will not. So whatever this UDD, whatever I'm saying, this will not work in insert mode. You need to come out of insert mode. Like for example, let me go in the insert mode. Let me add a new line. Adding multiple lines. something like this. Okay, I came out of insert mode. I'm not in insert mode right now. Now I just delete this line. Gone. Now by mistakenly I've deleted. Just assume. I just hit U once. The line is back.
So
Simply you
how
need
we
to
can came out from insert mode by just pressing the escape button?
escape. Escape
Okay.
will terminate the insert mode for you. Okay. There are others also, like if you want to find something, if you want to find if inside your file where exactly multiple is written, so you can use backslash, forward slash, and backslash, and you can use the word multiple. See this, it's automatically it's getting highlighted. So forward slash, then you can use whatever words you want to find out, backslash with the word name. And if you want to do next, you just do nen in actual file. So this will go and search that particular word for you. But for the search, I have given you grep. Grep is the best way if you want to search anything. Let me just close this. And whatever commands you have written at the bottom, like this way I have written slash and multiple. If you want to remove everything at once, hit escape once, everything will be removed. And you will have this console again. So this is basically a console, guys. You will have this console again for writing things. Okay. Now what else? There are others also, like replace, substitute, delete a character. If you want to delete a character, like a specific character, let's go back. Now see, the cursor is somewhere on new. If you want to delete a character, then you just hit X. N is gone, E is gone, W is gone. If you do U, then it's undoing the changes. Okay. So if even if you want to delete a character, then this is how it is done. X will delete that wherever your cursor is. So like if my cursor is at multiple and I just don't want, there's a typo I did. Okay. Like for example, this I is in small. I want to change it with, so I'll just delete this character and I replace it with capital I, something like this. Even this is possible. You can do a replace also. Remove this insert, come and save it. Done. Okay, so this is how editor is all about. All the flags, additional flags which you can use. So this is the commonly used flags. There are additional flags. Deleting character, deleting cursor location. There's no DD over here. Yeah, DD. Delete the lines. And insert mode. Okay, move the cursor. So sometime what happens, guys, sometime what happens on servers, basically this happens on servers mainly. When you log in on Linux server, your arrow keys will not work. The forward, backward, and all these arrow keys will not work. That is by default disabled on servers. So you can make use of this K, J, H, L. This is for move the cursor up, move the cursor down, move the cursor left, move the cursor in the right. Like for example, let's open the VI again. So as if now if you see, I'm using my backward forward arrow keys in reality on my keyboard. And this will work on your local because this is a low Linux VM which you are creating for yourself. So this will work, there's no issue. But there are some other flavors in which this will not work. In such cases, you need to use this K. You see, K, J. See, if I'm doing a J, if I'm doing a L, it's going. If I'm doing a H, it's going this way. If you're doing a K, it's going up. So moving cursor. In some cases, if your arrow key is not working, then you can make use of H, J, K, L for moving cursor, for moving the cursor position. So keep that in mind. Remember that. Okay. Let me quit this. Okay. Go through this. How do we create a file? How do you create a file in read-only mode? So -R is a flag if you want to open the file in a read-only mode. But if you want to read a file, so the best command is cat. VI, that multiple editors. So whatever we did, this will work in Vim also. Vim is nothing but it's an upgraded version of VI. So it has some color coding feature enabled. So it is an upgraded version of VI. Whatever you do in VI, the same thing will be done in Vim. So let me see if I have Vim editor. So this is Vim deploy. Yeah, even I have Vim inside in my system. So if you have any color coding, if you're opening any HTML or CSS file, anything as such, then it will show you the color coding also with Vim. So I've opened this file with Vim now. Vim is exactly the same, guys. No difference. Same set of commands will even will it will work with Vim. Vim is just the upgraded version of VI. You'll not find Vim everywhere. Hence, we are learning VI. Okay. Any questions till now? So there are multiple things what we have learned today. Let's quickly recap everything. We spoke about what exactly is Simling, what exactly is hardlink. Simling is just a shortcut which we create. Hardlink it's like a backup which gets created. Then we spoke about absolute path, relative path. We spoke about redirect sign. So the greater than sign is a redirect sign which will go and create that file and it will edit the content. And if you use double redirect sign, it will go and append the changes to the new line. Okay. Then we saw the VI editor. VI editor is a default editor in most of the Linux operating system. So wherever you go, you will find this VI editor. Okay. Are we good till here? Anyone? Any questions? Any doubt? And I see there was something in the chat. Let me go through it. Sunil, Docker file, I have not covered Docker as such. So this is just a text file. I just given a naming convention of Docker. So we are not covering Docker now at this point of time. So don't worry. This was just a text file what we have created. Nothing else is there in the chat. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Any questions? No questions. Then let me introduce to the new topic, that is Linux ownership, file ownership. Now, whenever you run this command, there were other things over here. What exactly is this? Every file and directory in Linux will have its ownership. Okay. Now, these are what exactly this is trying to tell you, that there are three types of ownership in Linux: user, okay, this is what we have. So there are three types of ownership in Linux: user, we got group, we got others. Okay, the user, this person is the owner of the file by default. So by default, the person who creates the file becomes the owner. By default, the person who creates the file becomes the owner of the file. So the user, you call it as user or you call this person as the owner. It's one of the same thing. Okay. Now if you go and see who has created the file, Valaxy. Okay. I'm the Valaxy user. Who is logged in right now? Valaxy. Valaxy user is logged in right now, correct? And this Valaxy user has created this file. Hence, this is your owner information over here, or user information, whatever you call it. This first box, what you see, this is your user information. Okay. What is the other thing? Group. I'll talk about this part later. For now, just keep it aside. What exactly it is? We are just talking about the types right now. A group, a user group can contain multiple users inside. So if you want to create a group like development group, tester group, or QA group, DevOps engineers group, anything as such, if you want to create a group, then you can even create a group, user group, which can contain multiple users. Okay. All users belonging to a group will have the same Linux group permission access file. Now, suppose you have given a permission to a file, read write permission, and you have given a group that permission. So if any user getting added to that group will automatically will have that type of permission. So that is what group meaning is all about, correct? When you create a group and if you add any users to the group, so whatever permission you have at the group level, the user will have the user will inherit those permissions automatically. That is why we create group in a normal term also, correct? Why do we create group? So that we can group users. Our QA will have set of permissions, so we'll have a QA group and we'll add all the QA person inside the QA group. All the QA will inherit permission from the group itself. That is what the group thing is over here. Now if you come back, if you see this other part, this is group. I will say we haven't created any Valaxy group as such. So if you don't create any Valaxy group or anything as such, whenever you create a user, a group is by default created. So if you want to have a specific group created, that is something we'll see later. But if you don't create, by default this group gets created. And by default the file will add it to this group itself. Now what is others? Others, any other user who has access to a file. Now this person has neither created the file nor he belongs to the user group who could own the file. So the other is this person is neither created now, neither the owner nor the part of the user group, and this person has access to your file. So this comes inside others. Okay, now what exactly these are? Now these are, let me break this thing first. R, what is this? W, X. R stands for read, W stands for write, X stands for execute. Let's break this first, then we'll understand things in more details. Read, the permission will, if you have a read permission, this will authorize you to open and read the file. This will authorize you, if you have R permission, then it will authorize you to open and read the file. And if you're giving a read permission at the directory level, so whatever files inside there, inside directory, you will be able to read that files also. Like for example, this is a directory, correct? If I have anything inside this file, if I've created any file inside this, like this is the file which we have created. Now if I'm not giving any permission at this file level, for example, but I give permission at the parent folder, over here I gave read permission. So the person who has read permission can read the files inside it also. That is what it is trying to tell you. Okay, now what is write? The write permission gives you authority to modify the content of the file. If you want to do modification, then you can do modification with the write permission. So the write permission on a directory will give you authority to add, remove, and rename the file. At the directory level, like again the same example of test one. At the directory level, if you have write permission, so inside the directory, you can do add, remove, delete, all these things you can do at the directory level. The write is basically the write permission gives you authority to modify the content of the file. What is this third person now? Execute. In Windows, what do we call execute.exe file, correct? What does that mean? If you have .exe extension file, then you can install those application software on your local, correct? So in Windows, an executable program usually has an extension of .exe. So what does it mean? You can easily run those files on Windows. In Linux, you cannot run a program unless there is an execute permission is set. You cannot run a program without an execute permission. Like for example, a simple shell script. You have a shell script created, which is simply echoing hello world. And if you don't have execute permission, you cannot even run the shell script. Okay, let me try. I'm the root user, so I should able to run it, but let me try. Hello.sh. .sh stands for if you want to have a shell script. Okay, I can have a shebang at the top. Where is the, okay, forget about it. Let's write a simple echo hello world. Okay, simple hello world. It's a shell script, guys. If you see the shell script, we have the shell script. Now if I want to run this shell script, how do I do it? I can do simply bash hello world. It is displaying the, it is letting me run because I am the owner, for example. Now if I give access to someone, I just gave read write access to someone to run this, they will not be able to execute the shell script. They will not get this output because they will need execute permission. This type of permission they will need. I'm able to run it because I am the owner, so I can do whatever I want. I have created this file, so who will stop me? But for others, if they want to run even this shell script, they need to have this execute permission. Okay, so read, write, execute. Now what this thing stands for, let me copy this, put it over here. This is divided into this way. Now this is first, if you see the first three octet, so this is read, write, and this is execute. The dash what you see where there's no permission, that is execute. Now this is for users. The first level of permission, this is set for users. The second is set for group. The third is set for others. This is for group. The third is set for others. Now by seeing this permission, can you tell me what type of access has been given to the group? Anyone? On this file, whatever file it was, this file, what type of access has been given to the group? Can anyone tell
Read
me?
write.
Read and write.
Perfect. And what is the access given to the others?
Read only.
No, read. Sorry.
Read.
Read only.
And what about the user?
Read and write.
Perfect. So this is what, so the first, this box, we all know this is the type of file. So it's a regular file. This RW dash means it's a read write permission given to the user. This RW dash means read write permission given to the group. R dash dash means this is the read only permission given to others. This is Valaxy, the user. This Valaxy is the group, and this is where the size of the file, when the file was created, the time, and the name of the file.
What
This
is
is
that stands
how
for D? Means
D is
DRWX. Yeah.
D stands for directory.
Okay.
The
Means why
first,
we are not getting this type of this type in previous line.
no, no, this is directory. This is your folder. These are simple
Oh,
files.
files. Correct. Okay.
These are files. These are files and these are directory. So directory is something you can go inside it, correct? Directory is nothing but it's a folder in Windows. CD stands for change directory. You're changing the directory. Like, for example, this is a directory, correct? If I go inside this directory, this is what CD I did in Linux. CD and went inside the directory. Same thing I'm doing over here. Okay, guys. So I think I should stop over here and leave it and leave you guys with go and do practice. We are not done with file permission yet. This is very simple logic I have explained you. This topic will continue tomorrow again, and making sure go through whatever we did today because there are multiple things what we did. Go through those things, try to create symlink, try to create hard link, try to see what is absolute, what is relative part, try to work with the VA editor, try to create a file and see how the permissions are changing. Now rest will, there are other way what is octet values, what is others, there are other things what we'll do tomorrow. They are numbering as well. These are octal value, these are bits what we have seen. What is the difference between all this? This is something we'll see tomorrow. For now, we'll stop over here. Tomorrow we'll see file permissions. How do we work with file permissions? And tomorrow we'll see package management. Package management and user and group management. This is something we'll do tomorrow. Okay, that's it for me. If anyone has any questions, please do let me know, or else we can wind up the call for today. Anyone? Any questions? Any doubt?
Quick question.
Yep.
Are you going
Tell
to
me.
show us how to set up the permission tomorrow?
Yes. That
Okay.
is something we'll start tomorrow.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, guys, if no questions, thank you very much. Let's meet up tomorrow. Make sure to practice this because after once the Linux is over, we'll be starting with the first DevOps tool, that is Git repository. Okay, and in Git, I'll be using most of the Linux commands, whatever I'm teaching you over here, and I'll be using the VI editor over there. So make sure to go and practice as much you can. Okay, no problem. Thank you very much. Bye bye.